Okay, this is the regular meeting of the Larkspur Parks and Recreation Commission for Thursday, January 15th, 2026. And we are starting the meeting at 6:32. First order of business is the roll call.
Excellent. Commissioner Sunshine,
Here.
Commissioner Friedel,
Here.
Vice Chair Baxter,
Here.
and Chair Harrison.
Here.
And no Commissioner Capel tonight.
Okay, thank you. We will now move to public comment. Is there anybody online? Because I do not see anyone in the room.
Is anybody online?
Well, in that case, I will simply say that we called for public comment, had none, and we will move on to the approval of the consent calendar. Which you can't do, right? You don't have
Not
to write
tonight,
down.
yeah, we'll have to save that.
All right, then we will hold the approval of the minutes of December 18th to the February meeting. Our business items. First one is of particular interest. It is the installation of officers. Do I need to call for nominations?
Yeah, so I think I had emailed you guys the names that if you so chose to go in the path that you have gone for the past 50 years, that would be but if you were getting cold feet, there's
Chair Harrison, I'd like to make a motion. I'm the person not involved here. I'd like to make a motion to nominate Jean Friedel as vice chair of the board and Reed Baxter as chair of the board, moving from vice chair. And I'm just gonna make a little speech because I was just thinking about as we are in the beginning of the year, how exciting this coming up year is for Larkspur, particularly with the opening of the library, with all of the work. Vice Chair Friedel or Vice Chair, you've done on this, and Vice Chair Baxter, kind of your understanding of big events and kind of how to pull things together. Feels like representation from the two of you seems really appropriate at this time. So
Thank you.
Outstanding. Do we have a second? I will second it. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Excellent. Do we move seats now?
You may move seats.
give them go. That's a little dangerous.
You want to hit it one last time?
Yes, I do.
All right,
And now.
Thank you.
I will,
Okay.
I will move this way.
I will do this one.
Oh, yeah, I will break. All right, here we go.
It's official. You can't take it back.
Just want to say thank you to my fellow commissioners for the vote of confidence, to our wonderful Director of Recreation, Mr. Nick Stone,
Yeah.
Dan Schwartz, and everybody else who has helped and agreed with me over the last few years. And I look at you guys as my friends and fellow commissioners, so thank you for that.
Should come to our meetings, we're fun.
Yeah, we'll get there this year.
Yes, you will.
That's what you ran, the platform you ran on, right?
I think so. I see our attendance and comments. All
Well, I
right,
know how to increase attendance, but it may not be in a positive.
we'll work on that. That being said, I think that brings us to business item number 4.2, bounce house policy at Piper Park. Director Stone, would you like to speak to this?
Yes. Thank you, Chair Baxter. I'm gonna give you guys a little backstory. I in October or November, I think this year, I presented to you guys the total picnic rentals from Piper Park for the 2025 season. We are one of the, as you know, Piper is a huge park, and we are one of the premier spots for picnics at Piper. So I would say the majority of people that visit the park on the weekends are there for birthday parties, family reunions, picnics, whatever it is, they're in the picnic area. We do allow bounce houses right now. So that's one of the requests that we get all the time are bounce houses. It's usually a kid's birthday party. And I've had people will call, we allow 2 bounce houses right now, one in area E and one in area D. And so for reference, when you're out there, those are the 2 spots that are closest to the playground and volleyball courts there. So it's kind of been more like the kid side of the picnic area. Often people will call looking for a bounce house. Those 2 spots are gone, and I'll say, we've got plenty of other tables if you want to go. And they say, no, this is like what my kid wants, is this bounce house. Bounce houses have been rough in the past. We've had kind of lawlessness out there a lot on certain weekends. I'll say it. I think one of the vendors that I'm going to tell you about in a minute has referred to it as the Wild West sometimes on Sundays out there. So multiple vendors out there dropping bounce houses everywhere. And the real, the thing about that, we don't have any enforcement out there. We have the coordinator Josh that works on Saturdays, but then Sundays is kind of a free for all. And so the bounce houses can be placed haphazardly, spots where they're not supposed to be. The kicker has always been that we haven't had reliable electrical out there. So people, when they call to rent their bounce house, they also have to get a generator. So the generators come out, and that's really, if you get a couple generators running right next to your picnic table, it's brutal. So one of the things that we can do now that we have electrical out there, and we've done some testing out there, is we can look at using the electrical, which cuts out the need for a generator. And it's just, at that point, it's just the sound of the air blower blowing into the bounce house, which is pretty minimal unless you're standing right next to it, but definitely a lot less than a generator. As far as vendors, there's a handful of big vendors that provide bounce houses in the Bay Area. And there's also, we call like the Facebook Marketplace vendor, which is somebody that has a bounce house, maybe keeps it in their garage, and they have their phone number out there, and they'll come out, they'll drop it anywhere. They'll kind of undercut most businesses, and you can't find them after the fact. So what I'd like to do is I would like to not have generators out there. So I would like to move towards having vendors use our electrical system out there. Right now, we don't have an approved fee for electrical use. So I'm going to propose that as part of this. But we have run some numbers, and we think that if we were to charge, say, $50 admin fee, it would more than cover our electrical, and it would also allow the renting groups, whatever party is having, that they would not have to pay the $100 to $120 for a generator. So they'd actually be saving money by going greener and quieter. The other thing I'd like to do is I'd like to just have one vendor that kind of controls what's going on out there. We usually, a couple of the big vendors we're able to get insurance from, but as far as following the rules, it can be pretty kind of crazy out there, and bounce houses will just kind of show up in different parts of the park. So we have full day picnic rentals out there, and we also have half day picnic rentals out there. So speaking with one of the vendors, Astro Jumps, that I've known for a while and worked with a lot, with camps. He says one of the challenges is coming out for a half day party where we have a party from 10 to 1, and then we're turning it around and having a party from 2 to 6. So he says if somebody else has a bounce house out there, he can't go and drop his bounce house there in the afternoon unless he rolls up another vendor's bounce house and gets it out of there. So it creates kind of tension out there when we have multiple people working out there. So one of the things I'd like to do is contract one vendor to kind of be our eyes and ears in the park, and to operate those bounce houses going forward. Yes.
Question. Director Stone, if we have one vendor, does that mean we have to have a competitive bidding process for that one
That was
vendor?
gonna be my question.
Yeah, no, I've run this by Dan and City Attorney Sky
Okay.
at this point, and so we would be choosing the contractor that we think that works best out there. And I think that with Astro Jump, it's probably the most. They're based in Santa Fe, so it's about as local as you can get. And they're definitely the biggest. I think they do the bulk of the parties out at Piper and Marin County, probably. So yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Thanks.
Yeah. Almost. So this is what the one thing I'm also looking at too is as you saw in the presentation, I don't have the graph with me, but the areas that had the bounce houses were by far the most booked spots. So the hope is that if we were to now offer bounce houses in other picnic locations, that you can see kind of at the north, the top part of this map, we're hoping that we can actually have more picnics out in the park because again, people are being turned away because they want the bounce house. So we think if we can add bounce house spots, we'd increase picnic table revenue as well as the administrative fee that we would be charging. So I would also like the commission to consider increasing the number of bounce houses allowable from 2 to 5, which would then be.
Sorry, I can't, can you do mouse and show or something? I can't identify that.
Yeah, so playground down here,
Okay.
and
The
so
two
we have,
current ones are the pink.
yeah, right, so right here is a bounce house spot and right here is a bounce house spot, so those are the
Those are
current
current.
ones. We would be looking to add one for this grouping right here,
Okay.
this grouping right here, and this is over here by the stage for the final one.
So where's the adults only picnic area?
Well, I mean, you can still rent a picnic area and not have a bounce house. So the bounce house is not necessarily always set up there. So it's only if you reserve it. So if you were to reserve area A right here and not bring a bounce house, somebody wouldn't be able to put a bounce house there because that.
Right, not that. Sure.
Yes, please.
My concern though is if we had 5 areas available for bounce houses, the opportunity presents itself for there to be 5 bounce houses in the park at any given Saturday. In which case, an adult party would not want to be in that area. Ever.
Yeah.
And there are reunions, I mean, I think 5 is a lot, especially since it rims the whole picnic area. What are the tables, if there were 5 bounce, I believe the correct term is bouncy house, but if there were 5 bounce houses rented on a Saturday,
Mhm.
half or whole day, what else would be available in the picnic table area?
Yeah, so there would be 2 tables right here in the middle, shaded tables.
So that's the big tree.
Yes, the big tree. And then yeah, if this were all booked with kids
So
parties
2 tables
around.
surrounded by 5 bounce houses and 5 air blowers with 100 screaming children. You couldn't pay me to rent that table.
Questions from,
Sorry, I didn't hear your question. I was just
yeah,
really.
other commissioners, do you guys have questions for Director Stone?
Have you thought about grouping them differently?
You mean like grouping all of them in one location?
Or closer to each other so that there might be an area that was had a little distance?
Yeah, the reason I have these, I should have included this in the map, groupings like this, there are 3 outlets out there. And so they're centered around the 3 outlets. The other thing is,
Got it.
we talk about, one of the things is that a responsible bounce house vendor would not leave their bounce house kind of far away from where groups is, because that would mean that any group could kind of go in when they're
Mhm.
taking their breaks. So typically you'd want it near the tables.
If we're using electric generators, why do they need the outlet?
Well, right now they're renting gas generators.
Okay. And
Yeah.
we're gonna switch to electric.
And so we're looking to switch to electric,
And
yeah.
then they will
Our
no
electric.
longer need.
Our grounded electric.
Our electric system in the,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Got it.
yeah.
Like a big electric blower.
Um,
Uh,
so yeah, so right here you can see with the X on it here, I have that's a generator that'll come out. Kind of has like I mean, it's an engine that's running. And then this is what it connects to. This is the blower that fills a bounce house with air. So you would plug this in directly to an electrical source, like an outlet and a wall, and then you're cutting out use of the generator. So instead of having both of these pieces of equipment going at the same time, you would just have the one.
Well, just, I have a couple questions,
Mhm.
but maybe this sort of prompts, have these electric blowers been used elsewhere, and are they as reliable as the gas generators, or has this vendor experience with the electrical blowers?
So yeah, so the blower is part of it comes with a bounce house. You can't blow up the bounce house with it. So, but you need to power those blowers. And so they have a cord, and what they're doing right now is they're taking the cord and they're plugging it into a generator, a gas generator. So what we would be doing is taking that same blower and plugging it into an electric. So it's no different equipment. It's just that the vendor would not be bringing out generators.
I just had one more question, but I also just wanted to say, like, having heard these generators, as we all have, I mean, I think I applaud you for,
Yeah.
all the noise, the environmental damages, all these kind of expanding these opportunities, which clearly there's a demand for. So, thank you for taking this on, the Wild West. I guess my question is, if we have one vendor, and I understand why that works operationally for the park, is there any guarantee that they will, as a monopoly, what their price? Are they, kind of along, competitive with other responsible bouncy house
Right
vendors? And then
now, yeah, good question.
could we
And
put
that's,
something in the contract that,
I believe that I could put something in the contract that keeps it at market rate. I don't know what that looks like. I know from my personal experience, this vendor has, they're usually right below or even with any other vendor that I can use. But yeah, that is something that I have thought about. And so I don't know what that looks like in the contract, but that's something that I could include.
yeah, thank you.
My question would be, what is Larkspur's fee for allowing one of these? If somebody wants to have a bounce house at their, picnic site, how much does the city make? And does that money come back to Parks and Rec, or does it go to the general fund?
Yeah, so all revenue ends up in the general fund, but but currently right now we are not charging for bounce house use. It's if you book the table that's associated with that space,
Yeah,
then you have the ability to bring a bounce house. And we don't charge for that right now.
So it's just a table rental that includes the areas for.
Exactly.
bounce house.
Yeah.
So the only increased revenue would be the $50 for the electrical.
Yes, and then potentially the rental of additional tables if more bounce houses were allowed.
does the fees have to be approved by the council, or can that be established, or can we make a
We
recommendation?
recommend.
You can recommend,
Okay.
yeah, and then it'll go through a fee process. So we're looking,
Okay.
yeah.
Why would charge to have a bounce house in the park? Why wouldn't we recommend to council that we add a fee for a bounce house?
I would make two recommendations kind of along that line. One, I'd like to increase the fee to $200. And then two, I would ask that money is to be used for Parks and Rec. Public works related projects, if that was such a thing that we'd be allowed to recommend.
give you your line item money, and that's a big ask, but I like what you think.
Take
But
it,
I would say, why don't we charge, because some of those things are massive, and are there size and height requirements, because some of them are big. And never fit their area, so, I mean, a contract, I think, would have to come back for approval. I'm very uneasy with just picking a vendor without a bid process as a municipality. Even though city manager and city attorney say that it's proper, or they're okay with it. I can't think of any other department that's allowed to do that.
Yeah,
I know Astro Jumps, they're quite honestly one of the best vendors to do this, I agree, but it seems sort of odd to just pick a vendor without a bid process. Cause someone's gonna come back to us and say, I don't want to use them, my brother-in-law runs Bouncy House, is us, why can't I use them? We just created a problem.
One of the parallels that was drawn is that a lot of our programs right now any of our programs, really, we don't do an open process for that. People will come to us, saying, I want to run a camp here, and if we decide that we will vet them, and we'll decide if we want to run a camp with them. So there's not really like an open process for that. Music in the Park is another example, much smaller.
But I don't have to take your tennis class. If I wanna have something in the park, I have to use that. I mean, clearly Sky and Dan are the arbiter of what's gonna happen, but it just seems like a weird thing. But I would like to see a charge for bouncy houses, and I think the fee is low, and with the price of electricity, I just paid my bill, $50 seems low. So, but if you've done the study and $50 makes sense, and if there's a half-day rental and a full-day rental, how is there a $50 charge for both?
Good question that I hadn't
That's a good
thought
question.
about. Yeah. So I think
It's a lot more if I leave my heat on.
so I talked with Superintendent Bob Quinn, and we had just kind of done some rough numbers of what we think that would cost. And we think $50 would more than cover a day of
Cause if I'm.
a bounce
my
house out
bouncy
there.
house-
yeah,
Bouncy house for my kid. And you charge me 50, and I have it all day, and then I get charged 50 for my half day.
does somebody want to propose a fee that we would propose
Well, I
to the
don't, I mean,
council?
it just $50 seems low for a full day or high for a half day. I don't know. Seems like there should be a different charge for half and full if we're charging half and full days. Different reservation rates for tables, correct? Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so table rental is different half and full day, so electricity should be different for half and full day. And I would like to see a charge for the square footage that you're holding. Cause we charge to rent the field. They're not renting a table, right? I'm asking them, right?
They're-
You rent a field for baseball.
Yeah.
You renting square footage in the park, and there's a fee for that. So if you're renting square footage for the park, for the bouncy house, there should be a fee for that. As well as the table,
Okay.
because if you just rent the table, you're paying the same fee, correct?
Yes.
If I'm in the adults area only, and I rent the table
Mhm.
cluster, I pay $194 for the full day. And if I wanna rent the table, the cluster that's available for bouncy houses, and I bring my table for all day, I pay $194 and I can bring my bouncy house. Why would I not be charged more if I'm monopolizing more of the park? We're gonna make money.
Good. One of my concerns would honestly be pricing ourselves out of this business.
Exactly, well,
Um,
I would like to have more conversation about charging additional for the bouncy house. If there's an additional administrative fee because it costs more, that to me is one thing, but charging per square foot, that feels. We're a park, we're a public park that wants.
I totally see.
I'd rather remove some of the spaces if it seems like it's 5 is too much in that limited spot, but like.
Well, I think 5 is too much I just think if you have 5 bouncy houses on a Saturday, which could happen, Cause you get,
Mhm.
you're turning, when you only have the 2 spaces, you're turning people away, saying you only have 2 spaces available. And you regularly are turning people away. So it's conceivable that you would have, could have 5 bouncy houses, picnics going. With 10 or 15 kids per house. And
Ideally
have-
conceivable that, yeah, we would sell
and
out
have
the
no
areas,
other
yeah.
Available picnic tables. Parks are for kids, but there's also a lot of other things that happen in that park.
Hmm.
So I would be concerned with 5 bouncy houses.
What
If
would
there
you
was-
The whole thing in that.
alternatively propose?
We have 2 now, I mean, that's more than double the 2 areas now, right?
To current,
2
yeah,
current clusters.
currently, yeah.
So, I mean, that's more than double right off the bat.
Hmm.
Is this something we could expand incrementally on when we try 3?
Yeah, I think, yeah,
Double
my.
if you have to, yeah.
My ask for this, so what we're looking to do is, we have to run this fee schedule by, I'm not, I haven't opened picnic reservations yet, for the summer, but once I do, I really have to have some kind of policy in place, otherwise it's gonna be the same as last year. And I anticipate by, the picnic tables open in April, but by March, the first half of the summer is pretty solidly booked. So any kind of policy change halfway through the summer isn't gonna work for people. So I would, in my head, I would like to see, coming out of tonight, I would like to get approval to use the electrical to switch from generators to this. The other thing about that, I do not feel comfortable granting access to our locked electrical boxes
Mhm.
without having a contracted vendor on board for that.
Yep.
So there's 2 parts to that. There's when we go through the full contracting with somebody similar to what we've done with the lights in the park, is that we enter into a 20-page document with them. We get all kinds of insurance and vehicle insurance from them. That allows the bounce house vendor could potentially drive in to the park in the morning, drop off the picnic instead of carting it across in a dolly. And then it also gives them access to the key with the electrical boxes, as well as the key that switches the breakers. So I don't really want to do that with a lot of people. And honestly, any more than one out there, there's going to be tension with, get this off of the spot. I've got another party here. And it also allows us to set up a calendar directly with one vendor where we're saying we have, these parties at these tables, how does that match up with you? And then we're ready to go. So I'd like to see that tonight. And then yeah, from 2 to 5 is a big ask. I knew that would be something that comes up. To answer your questions about, kids only and adults only, ideally, if adults rented, say, group A that was up here, then there wouldn't be a bounce house there. So they'd be kind of removed from the bounce house scene. Now, if they booked group E, which is down here, and there are bounce houses here and here, then I could kind of get your take on that. But typically when adults have parties, they don't go closest to the playground.
Right, so maybe we go to 4 and not
Mhm.
5, so that, and not allow bouncy houses in whatever we're gonna call the yellow circle.
Up top at A.
Adults
Yeah.
only,
Yeah, next to the station.
let's not call it that,
Well,
but
it doesn't have to be adults only, but I get what you mean. So no bounce houses there.
it's also closest to the diamond, so if they're.
But there would also, if adults booked it and didn't book a bounce house, then there wouldn't be a bounce house there anyway.
I don't understand what you're saying by
Yeah.
that, but yes.
So if you didn't allow bounce houses there at any time, then it wouldn't be different than if an adult party
Yeah.
booked it.
Yeah, but we're just saying we're not gonna allow bounce houses there, so.
Yeah.
That's not an area that you can put a bounce house regardless of adults or not. You can still have a kids party there. Just can't have a bounce party there, but at least it's one area that there's no bouncy house.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds like an amusement park with 5 bouncy houses in it.
I think we should set up 5 bouncy houses and then we all part of
Pick
your
one.
fun agenda. We
Go
go
check it
from
out.
place to place
Yeah.
to
Okay.
see how many,
What it looks like.
exactly. Then invite all the kids and see.
That sounds great. Mr. Director, what do you need from us?
So, I mean, it's really up to you guys what you want to approve tonight. I'm gonna open, picnic reservations. I think we're scheduled at the end of January, which is coming up. So I need to have some kind of idea of what we're gonna do. So if you guys are,
Motion or just recommendations?
I need a motion or recommendation, same thing. But if you guys were good with me using Astro Jumps and granting access to the electrical, and then how many bounce houses you want. So
And I'm comfortable with, I'd rather 3, but if you're comfortable with 4.
Is there a motion
can you-
or a recommendation?
Okay, so, all right, you want a motion? I would make a motion that we approve the use of one vendor and allowing him access to the electrical. Them access to the electrical. That we change the recommended use to 4 clusters for bouncy houses. With a review of the electrical versus half and full day.
okay, I follow that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Perfect.
Great, motion passes. Recommendation. Which brings us
Thank
to
you.
business item number 5, Director's Oral Report.
Excellent. Just a few things for you, but maybe some discussion around it too. The nature panels have just been delivered, so I have them in my possession at the office. It's not high on Public Works priority list right now, but I've asked for those to be installed by April. So we have talked in the past about doing some kind of something around it. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on what you were envisioning. So, because as I started to kind of think about it, I was like, are people going to show up for this? Is this enough? So I don't know. I felt it was a conversation, like what you guys envisioned.
Can they be up the day the library open?
Oh,
We knew what
I
day
would-
that was.
I knew we'd have a competing event.
They can just walk over. Built-in audience. I get it, you don't want to throw a party and no one's show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have to pick a date?
How?
No, we don't have to pick anything. I was just kind of like,
Okay.
if you guys, or if you didn't see
How low
anything.
down were they on the priorities? I know. And just a comment to thank Public Works for getting us through the floods, because that could not have been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it really depends on how the rains treat us the rest of the year.
Type it up, 6.7 coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't foresee an issue getting those in by like April. And so I don't know, like a ribbon cutting seems like it might be a little kind of a
When is Easter?
I should have that off the top of my head. I think it's the first week of April.
We're gonna have lightning, light bulb, whatever, what is that? Glow in the dark, what is it called?
It's the
I've lost my mind.
Flashlight egg hunt will be on Friday, April 3rd.
So we'd have a large audience, we could, not that they could read that night, but we'd have a large audience, we could announce.
Have them get lost off in the.
No, but we could announce it, that it's happening, so you'd have a large group of 12 people.
That event is chaos. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
think, and they don't listen to anything I say.
Well, how about an event later in April then? Then are you saying you'd support a ribbon cutting type thing when we invite other people?
Yeah, I mean, it really up to what you guys are envisioning. If I mean, if we did a ribbon cutting and it was just, because the chance that it could just be us with,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think it would be nice, even if it was just us, we could invite
The artist.
council, see if they come, the artist, and invite press.
Yeah.
And have them come out and take a photo so that they know they're there until it hits the IJ, so people can come and look at it. I said, we're not gonna do a, treasure hunt or whatever, it doesn't have to be that, but I think there should be a ribbon cutting with us and council, someone will show up, the mayor will show up, Stephanie will show up.
Just had an idea. Arbor Day is
And the
in
mayor,
late
and the mayor will show
April
up.
too.
That sounds great.
Okay, and then invite the IJ so that it makes the paper, so the artist gets the hit. The signs get the hit, and then people will come out and look at it on their own time.
Okay.
I mean, they're beautiful.
Maybe there's also a little communications campaign that could be done with the Larkspur walkers,
Yeah.
because that's on
Yeah.
the trail that they do to
Mhm.
let them
Right.
know.
Yeah, the
what
Walkers
friends
in the
and-
library,
and-
Diana puts a newsletter out
Exactly.
all the local people could put
Yeah.
in their newsletters that
And
they're
it-
out.
Be cool, I mean, Hall's got a pretty robust science program,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like getting some kids. Again, I don't know when this would
Right.
be, but,
And the
you know,
desk of
working with one of the
Yeah. I
the
mean,
science teachers, and that could be.
and all the social media hits, desk of the city manager is out on Friday.
Yeah.
The Instagram that Allison does, all that stuff, that'd be great. I mean, like I said, even if it's just us or a couple of us, whoever can make it, and invite the mayor, invite council. Heck, we got Dan to the train on Christmas. Who knows who would show up for the ribbon cutting of those signs?
Okay. Good, thank you. I just needed to see kind of what you guys were all thinking about that.
And is that something you're organizing on top of everything else, Nick? Is there some?
Yeah, I mean, it's not, yeah, don't expect too much.
Yeah. No,
Ribbon
Right.
cutting, meet Josh.
Yeah.
Josh, meet ribbon cutting.
Yeah, no, that's snacks and mostly just kind of getting the word out, I think.
Getting the word out, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then just making sure that, yeah, people are there is the big thing, so. But I actually like the idea, because that's right around the time of Arbor Day too, and we're one of the few cities that
Great day to do it.
doesn't do
Perfect.
much of that,
Right.
yeah. So, plant some trees too.
I think that'd be a great activity.
Great. Good. Thank you for that. You may or may not have noticed the lights are down in the park, so I wanted to just say thank you to everyone for making the lights happen this year. The wrecking crew for collecting donations and for presenting a check at city council meeting, and it was a great year, and I really liked it, and I'm excited for next year. I've already looking at dates for the train for Hot Cocoa Night next year, and City Manager Schwartz came, liked it, and I was like, it was a lot of work. I don't know if I'll do it again next year. And he's like, oh no, you have to. So
There's no escape.
yeah, so it was nice to have that kind of that support and that knowing that it was
And the assistant
like,
city manager
yes, yeah,
with her littles.
yeah, Shannon came as well. So good. And then Joshua right now is working, the rec coordinator is working on the brochure for the spring. So if you have any ideas, if you've looked at past brochures and you feel strongly that something should be changed or that something should be added, please reach out to me. So he's just starting to compile all that information right now. So if there's anything that you want to see or don't want to see, please let me know.
The other thing I would say is make sure people are giving you, they're probably not giving it to you, is websites or QR codes.
Mhm.
Because people put their stuff in there and then you gotta go search about how to reach them. They're
It's,
probably not giving it to you, so make sure they're giving it to you.
we're seeing a lot more of those
Yeah,
this year.
Do
Yeah.
we charge ad space on that? Like if somebody wants to advertise, is that?
So right now we don't do advertisements. So we have community groups that we allow to have space in there, so that they have to be local, serving the community, and we will
Right.
give them a plug. So it's CYO, girls softball,
Okay.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it's viewed kind of as a community resource, so people can kind of know what's going on and where they should go for basketball. And,
It's so great. I
Hype
love that you
music.
went to this format's beautiful. When you switch to this. Just really
Yes.
striking with
Yeah, it's really nice.
Your mailbox, so beautiful.
And that is all I have.
Fantastic. That brings us to agenda item number 6, commissioners' reports. Anything to report?
Not me. Just thank you for the call out for wrecking crew. It was a huge joy to present city council with $5,000 from the wrecking crew towards the lights. Hopefully we can increase that next year. Thanks to my sponsors that were up here that donated to that, so that was great. And then just a plug for the Friends of the Larkspur Library, headed by Diana St. James. They are putting together a book brigade. I attended that meeting this week. And so the book brigade is going to be, if everyone's heard about this, they're going to take not all the books, a section of books from Magnolia to Rose on the opening of the library. So they'll be putting that out, and there'll be a sign up genius where you can volunteer, and we're gonna hand the books from one person to another from here to the new library on opening day. So there'll be a path that'll go down Magnolia. It's gonna cut through the
Rose Lane.
yeah, it's gonna end up through Rose. It's gonna the Chief Rubin and Police Chief are confirming that route, but they'll end up at the new library. So it'll be very cool. So it was a brainchild of Diana St. James, and she's working very hard on it. So big shout out to her and that group. So it'll be very cool. Whenever that day is, it'll opening day, so it'll be very fun. So that'll be sign up genius will go out to the community to volunteer for that. So I'd like to give her a shout out for that.
Read that in her email, which is,
Yeah, it's gonna be very cool.
I was just thinking there, there could be one line for moving the books and then another line for people putting their overdue books.
Did you just put this in?
Not that I have.
Pretend.
Anonymous hand. One from Redwood High School. It's like.
I might have one or two.
And thanks for all the work you did on Wrecking Crew this year, James.
Everybody,
Great
we're looking
organization.
to it. Rick and I are working on,
Got dates for
we already have dates for music.
music in the park. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I attended a council meeting, I think a few weeks ago, and one of the exciting things at that meeting was the Larkspur Community Foundation. And their plan moving the potential new community park along in the process. So I believe it's now at least on the unfunded list, but I'm confident this might be a year that we get a new park through public and private partnership. So really excited to see that to fruition, and I wonder if there's other opportunities like that. I look forward to exploring that this year. Anything else, fellow commissioners? All right, well, that brings us to number 7, adjourn the meeting. Happy 26.
Before we adjourn, I just want to thank, I'd like to thank our past president, our
Ah,
chair, for a
yes.
great year. It's always tough to rotating into the chair.
It's in good hands.
And wish our incoming chair.
Big shoes to fill.
Very good hands.
So thank you, Vicky.
Thank you, Vicky.
It was a lot more fun than the year that I was the chair during COVID.
Oh, my gosh.
That's fun.
You got to say it was while we saw
It
you.
was on the Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, yeah.
That was my first year.
Yes.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Camera. So I would make a motion to adjourn in honor of our retiring chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.